it's Laura Wansek here, and I'm so excited to share my completed Week in the Life album for 2022. So I stamp here on the side every year. This is my 6th year doing Week in the Life, so I like for the spines on my shelf to all look the same, so that's why I stamp it exactly the same every year. I love this yellow album from Ali Edwards, and I love this floral pattern on the inside. So the week opens up here with one of these chipboard frames. These are so cute and a great way to have kind of an interactive element. I did this repeated design for every single day to kind of open up that there's a new day starting. Usually I do journaling, but on I think one day there's something different right here, but most of the time it opens up with journaling about the day. And then on the back of each of them, I've got kind of the foiled cardstock word there, mounted on top of the 4x6 grid card with a photo or embellishment right here and the date stamped. So that's sort of a repeated design that you'll see throughout the album. The week starts with a hair appointment for me. So this was a week where I took the Monday off and the Tuesday morning off. I generally do Week in the Life earlier than the community because I work at a university, and the week that Ali tends to do it is when our students are gone, and I really like to capture kind of life in the middle of the chaos of the semester. But I did choose a week where I had a day and a half off, which was kind of fun because I was able to capture little things like this. This is a photo that I took of myself after a virtual therapy session. So this white space in the foreground is the back of my computer. I included a lot of the embellishments outside of the page protector just because I love the sensory experience of touching them. I love these little pleather pieces, and so you can see I put it directly on the page protector. This little puffy sticker is on the page protector. I really like this spread because it's a photo of both of our perspectives in the car. So I had driven my daughter to school, which is not a daily routine for me, but it was fun to do on this particular day because I was off work. And so she took a photo of me from her perspective, and I took a photo of her from my perspective, and I really liked that. I like seeing things from her perspective as well. She brought this home that she had made at school. She brought it home at the end of the day. So I took a photo of it up against one of the walls in our house and then did some journaling in the space above it. Again, this is outside of the page protector. My daughter snapped that photo for me. This is outside of the page protector as well. I love including screenshots. That's such a big part of life, right? Is our virtual connections. So I like to include that. And then we're opening up Tuesday again with that same repeated design of the journaling and the chipboard frame. Oh, I had picked her up. I dropped her off on Tuesday. The photos of the car here are me picking my daughter up. This is when I dropped her off, which again was not a typical routine for me, which was kind of fun to do. And then I got to go to story time at the library, which my husband's a stay-at-home dad. And so he has his own routines with the kids. And so it was kind of cool for me to be home for a day and a half because I was able to document a little bit of their routines that I'm generally missing because I'm at work. So this is her at story time and kind of getting to learn about, how she does story time. It's kind of cool. This is outside of the page protector because I had mounted it on this patterned paper that I think was from the Glow Story Kit. I actually don't know. I love this photo. So I had gone to lunch with my mom on Tuesday, and I snapped this photo of her. I turned my phone upside down so that the lens was close to the table. So I would have some foreground to add some journaling. And I really love that it mostly captured her hands because I love details like that about people. But specifically for her, I loved capturing all of her jewelry because she's always wearing so much jewelry. So I really enjoyed this capture. I covered up some journaling throughout the album if I'm journaling about work. This is a piece of art that I made in the art therapy group that I run. It's actually not technically an art therapy group. We just incorporate art in it. This is me in my office. I just did a timer shot. And again, this is outside of the page protector. It's interesting. This is not my view, right? Like this is my client's view. And I really like capturing the perspective of my clients, whereas usually I'm taking photos of my angle. This is me driving home. I just set my phone up against the dashboard. These half circles, I cannot remember what kit these are from, but I love them and I made myself use them because I've been hoarding them and I really like this kind of layered look here. I had taken a shot like this, I think last year for Week in the Life, where I put my phone in the refrigerator and captured myself kind of looking at the refrigerator. So I asked my daughter to recreate that. I set the phone up for her and then just asked her to look at the food for 10 seconds while the timer went off. And then I sewing machine stitched this half circle onto this patterned paper to create a little pocket, and then slipped these inside. So Marco Polo is a really big part of my life. And so I wanted to include the people that I talk to on Marco Polo, what it looks like when I have pending messages to respond to, and a screenshot of kind of what it's like when you're watching a video. I like this because you can see me right there because I was talking to her on the way home. Dinner time and then bedtime. So the medication page, I'm just going to quickly comment on this. So I like including medications. I take way more meds than I have in recent years. And so I wanted to capture it, and I really loved how I found this little die cut calendar, and then I put a little word strip from the Brave story kit. But what I did to photograph this is I have this like trifold poster board, and I just laid them on it and then have the flap kind of coming down, which is why you can see that ridge there. I do a lot of flat lay for a Week in the Life because there's a lot of items in my life that I want to include, but I want them to be up against sort of a blank canvas so that I can add journaling and design and kind of have it still match the album. So that's how I captured my medicines. Then we're opening up here with Wednesday, again, covering up some journaling, eating my breakfast sandwich with my computer there in the foreground. So earrings have become a really big part of my life because it's one of the few accessories that I can wear that doesn't create like a sensory issue for me. So every day I look at these trays and I pick out earrings for the day. And I really loved capturing kind of that daily visual of this tray of happiness that I grab from. So the way that I do that in terms of organization of where it's going to go in my album is I'll take what I sort of consider to be filler shots. So photos of my medication, of my toiletries, of the earrings. And then as I'm sort of putting the album together and piecing it all, I put it in holes. So maybe, I wanted to include this photo, but I didn't have another 6x8, for this. It's like putting together a big puzzle. So I've got these filler photos that I can put in wherever makes sense because it's a daily routine. So I'm doing this every day. I'm doing the medications every day. I'm doing my toiletries every day. So it doesn't really matter which day I'm putting it on. Again, we've got the pleather piece outside of the page protector. I'm obsessed with this sunburst from Studio Calico. A shot of outside of my office, lunch that my husband made, grabbing a snack from the market on campus. I have to say also that another thing that I love about this kind of album is all of the layers. So, this is a see-through, pocket. So you can see the earrings behind that, plus that little piece. And then you can see the blue sky behind this because this is another open one. And then when I lay that down, then I'm seeing the rainbow and the photo and the pleather piece. I just love all of that layering. And this card right here that's coming up in a few pages, I just really love. Oh, it's like so fun. It's very satisfying. Grabbed a photo of what my husband was reading in bed. I got a lot of comments when I posted this in my stories. I was sharing my photos throughout the day, and a lot of people asked me why I had so much bottled water. So that inspired me to include it in my journaling, which talks about how hard Oxford water is and ruins coffee machines and so forth. So this is kind of a fun little detail. So generally the way I do my journaling is I'll write the journaling in my notes app as the day is going on. And then I take the journaling from the notes app directly into Photoshop when I'm formatting my journaling for the album itself. So then I put it all in here. But sometimes as I'm going through, I'll find that there's a little snippet, a little detail that I didn't include in that kind of daily story that I want to add. And this is one of those. So as I was looking at this photo that I had captured of putting my keys in the door, it reminded me of kind of this micro story of the fact that I'm always fumbling for my keys. I always try to have a system where there's a particular place that I put them, but no matter what, I always end up fumbling. So I added that little story there. Photo of me at my desk. I tried to get different angles of my office. I love the way my office is decorated, so I loved including it. A work event, some real life tantruming, my husband helping me in my office pack orders, an open page that I didn't have a filler story for, so I just put some patterned paper that I love. We've got a flat lay here of my makeup. I really wanted to include this entire photo, but I also wanted to have this story, so I did a flip up. This is down the hall from where I work. It's just part of my corridor, and I really think this is pretty, so I just took a photo of that. My daughter getting her first haircut. And then on Saturday, my other daughter got a haircut, and you can see the before and after. Another flat lay of some earrings that Jen Scow sent me. I love this little grid here of these cute photos of her. And then here we're Sunday. We went to my parents' house, celebrated my mom's birthday. A lot of photos here. Cute bobblehead. A photo of me with the house in the rear view mirror. And then again, toiletry flat lay. And then the ending or closing story is a routine that my husband does every Sunday night. He Zooms with his friends. And so he was on the deck on our front patio. And so I took a photo of him doing that, talking to them on his phone, and then just did some journaling here about kind of that routine. And then I did kind of a closing reflection on the week itself. So let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. And if you are embarking on this project or working on your album right now, I hope that this was inspiring.